Yay! It is. Today is the day for Patty and the Nancys. I'm very excited. It's so rare for someone to get to spend an afternoon with two Nancys.
Oh, I knew you were going to do the chair.
Yeah. This really has Doomsday stuff written all over it. That seems so familiar.
Trigger.
Ah. I was like, well, it technically wasn't vacation. I was in church every day, twice a day.
Right.
But
not my idea of fun.
Not my idea of fun. Why did the man need 2 private jets? I mean,
welcome to the Apostate Sisters interview series, where we get to know fellow survivors of the Worldwide Church of God. In these episodes, we sit down with former members to hear their stories of resilience, liberation, and their struggle. Through these conversations, we aim to shed light on toxic cult dynamics, the process of deconstruction, and share profound journeys of self-discovery and healing. Join us as we get to know those who are reclaiming their own voice and freedom. Today, we're going to introduce you to Nanci. She grew up in the Worldwide Church of God and also the United Church of God, one of the main offshoots of the Worldwide Church. You'll see Nanci's quiet determination and resiliency as she explains how she sought to honor herself and to give her son the life she thought he deserved. My sister Nanci and I had a great time getting to know Nanci. We hope you'll enjoy meeting her as well. Here she is. We are gathered here today because Nanci, with an I, you are someone that found the Apostate Sisters, found your way to our Discord because you grew up in the Worldwide Church of God also. So we met you through there, and honestly, we've gotten to hear some of your stories along the way, like in our conversations that we have in the Discord. But Nanci with a Y and I were talking about just getting to know people from the Discord a little better and make space for you to share your WCG story with all the listeners of our podcast. So I'm so thankful that you were willing to come and meet with us and record yourself with us talking about your story today. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Well, Nanci, let's start with the most baseline information that our listeners might want to know about you. So like where it was that you went to church in the WCG and or offshoots, and then kind of your story of how you were in it, how you got out of it.
So my parents, when they got married, they were looking for something different. I'm not sure exactly how they found Worldwide. I was born in Worldwide, and my dad was in the Spokesman's Club. He was in different things. My mom, was on the crew. All the ladies, they did the potluck and all that stuff. My dad was on his way to being a deacon, and then the split happened. We went to the Waco, Texas congregation. In Austin, we would meet up with occasionally, especially for like Feast of Trumpets, a Day of Atonement sometimes. My dad was the first one to leave after the split. He was giving a sermonette. One of the deacon's wives did not like what he said. Queued him up one side, down the other after service. That was the last time my dad ever stepped foot in church. It was less than a year later, my mom ended up leaving. And by this time, I had already met my now late husband. And I left Worldwide when we were in United when I left, and I was 16. And now I'm fixing to be 44.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. So we're really close in age, all three of us then. Because I just turned 45 and Nanci is about to turn 43.
Yeah. I feel like there's something about our little age bracket here. There's quite a few people speaking out about the aftermath of the Worldwide Church of God in, early to mid 40s. I feel like there's a lot of us in this age.
Yeah. And it's crazy is I met up with a couple of the youth that were with me in my congregation. And it's funny because some still follow the practices and then some others don't.
Mm-hmm.
And
What do you
I'm the
make of
one.
that?
Sorry, my dog's wanting my attention.
No, you're fine.
You're good.
This is Scrappy, by the way.
Oh, hi there.
He's like, I want mama, because he knows I'm doing something that's not paying attention to him. But what I've noticed, because I'm still in contact with. He is now the minister for the Central Texas branch of Church of the Church of God. It's it's the offshoot of the offshoot of the offshoot.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm in contact with a lot of them. Not to rain on their parade. I mean, they're still good people, just lost. But I went to a celebration of life of one of them not too long ago with my dad. This person I was pretty close to, and there was one thing that he said, and I have never felt like this in my life about anything. It was, I don't know, an anxiety almost. It was like, I think he said like the world tomorrow or something, but it was the way that he said it. It just sent me back. I was like, yep, nope, not. It was weird. But, the minister is a good friend of my dad's. And Scrappy, you need to stop. They're good family. They actually donated a lot to me when the church did, and then personal gifts too when Scott passed away. And so I'm forever grateful for them. But been able to distance myself from the religion.
Mm-hmm. So you felt like you had a community.
I did. Because when I was born with heart defects, and I was super sick. And this is at the time at the end where they were saying you can't see a doctor. And my mom stood up to the church and said, like, look, I waited 15 years for this child. I am not giving up on her. Yeah. And she's like, I don't care what you do, but my child's health comes first. And the church actually did, from what I understand, a lot of fundraisers to help my parents pay for the bills.
Okay.
Wow.
Was that more or less Garner Ted Armstrong that kind of allowed that? I heard he was a lot more lax than his father was when it
I don't know. I was born in 81, so I'm not really sure exactly. Because I know Armstrong died in 83, 84?
86.
Yeah.
86.
Okay. So it had to have been under Armstrong himself.
Okay, yeah. So then if you were out of United by 16, do you remember when the switch from WCG to UCG happened?
Yes, I remember that. Because I was really big into YOU at the time. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of friends. And when we switched, all of my friends stayed with Worldwide. And I think it was only like 2 or 3 that youth, and none of them I was close to.
Okay. So how do you feel about, I guess, how do you see the impact of all of that shift between like the collapsing of the church and the aftermath?
When for seeing my dad's demeanor totally changed that day. He's even to this day, he's still a completely different person. Mm-hmm. It really affected him. It affected his self-esteem really bad.
When you say that, are you meaning when he kind of got ripped up and down about his sermon?
Yes.
What do you make of that? Like is that like just a really fragile personality around that, or like was she really mean? Like what
From what I wasn't around it, I was off doing whatever. But I remember that day, my dad was totally quiet. I mean, it was just, because, they say that the wives of the leaders are supposed to also lead. And I don't know what was said, but it ripped my dad apart. It really did. And the next time my dad stepped foot into a church, other than a funeral. The last time my dad stepped foot in the church was when I got baptized in 2020.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then all that goes along with the conspiracy theorists that I've seen a lot of men follow, My dad is the same way. He follows all of that. There is a podcast that goes daily. I forget the name of it, but they take the scripture and then they twist it.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad believes all of this crap, and they're actually outside of Austin. And it's just like the stuff that my dad listens to now, it's so far-fetched. So I was going to talk to my dad a lot about his time in Worldwide, but I did not want to bring up all of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Do you see like any through lines of thinking like that, by having been manipulated into the church, into Worldwide stuff, like do you see that same thing as sort of like the underpinning of where he's at with conspiracy theory
I think
stuff,
so.
like you're saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you talking like
because
if you kind of stuff or what?
All the doomsday stuff that Armstrong preached.
Yeah.
My dad, I think, took that a lot to heart. We had the good news magazines. My dad had all the spokesman club, correspondence courses. My dad had it all the books. Everything that was released, my dad had. So I know that definitely aided into the conspiracy theory path.
Yeah, I guess I've come across the idea that it was having to do with children, but the idea that if you are given to believing or being told fairy tale kind of stuff as truth, which I would say the cult was,
right,
that as an adult, you actually have a lot more difficult time separating out fact from fiction.
Yeah.
My mom, fortunately, did not get trapped into that line of thinking.
Yeah.
After my dad left, it was probably, like I said, it was less than a year later, my mom quit going. She said it was partially because of her ability to walk. At the time, she was having issues walking, but she was also very overweight, which contributed to it. But I kind of have a sneaky suspicion that she was maybe forced out of the church with my dad not being there. It's after that she started listening to Fred Coulter tapes, and she listened to them up until 2015, I think, because that's when my mom was diagnosed with dementia. And so my dad actually had to contact them to have them stop bringing or sending the tapes. But she listened to Fred Coulter up until the end almost.
I guess I'm not familiar with Fred Coulter.
He actually one of the professors at Ambassador.
Mm.
And he wrote a bunch of books. My dad has several of them, and from his wife too.
Okay, so this isn't like some other conspiracy theorist.
No, this is a continuation. Yeah, continuation.
I have him on my list, Patty. Yeah. I remember the name. I just didn't remember how he fell in. He was an evangelist then too?
I'm assuming.
Okay.
On his website, the first sentence, with the ministry now spanning 60 years, Fred Coulter is on a God-inspired mission to preserve the truth of God for the next generation of faithful Christians. According to Coulter, forces of godless evil are steadily working behind the scenes in religion, government, education, and economics. Blah, blah, blah.
No, so the devil's everywhere. Be scared everywhere you go. Such deep harm by things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, literally everything that you just read, Nanci, is saying everywhere you go, every place that exists, everything humans have built together, all of it is evil and threatening to harm you.
It is Christian Biblical Church of God, located in Hollister, California.
So you're saying that your mom, she really continued to indoctrinate herself then.
She did.
Mentally, she could not keep up.
Right.
You said dementia. Okay.
Right.
And your dad fell into related or similar through line doomsday thinking until
Right.
Is he still with us?
Yes.
Yes.
My dad will be 83 on the 12th.
Okay. So until present day, he's been still enmeshed in all of those ideas. So you, though, I mean, I believe you are still a believer, correct? But you are
Right.
not in any kind of Armstrongist ways
Right.
of thinking.
Yeah. When I left Worldwide or United, I did not go back to church for many years. When my husband and I moved to Arizona, the first time I going back to church was then. That was in 2005, and we were invited to go to Phoenix First Assembly. Huge, huge, multi-story church. The balconies and stuff.
And when you say assembly, does that mean it was an Assemblies of God, or is that
Assembly of God?
Board?
Yeah, Assemblies of God.
I was Assemblies of God for a while too.
And we went a few times, and that's when things started changing. But it wasn't until 17, 18, when we found the church that I started going back to. It got baptized in. It was a non-denominational church. And I had to do a lot of unlearning. And the classes that I took helped me unlearn a lot of the Armstrongisms even more. And it
when
also,
you say that, you mean like the theological concepts and stuff, like annihilationism versus hell, that kind of thing?
Right. Okay. But I was also able to add in, my experiences with Armstrong and Worldwide into the class. And at the end of my last semester, my professor was very thankful that I was able to give those insights, because the class is put on through the Bell Baptist Association, which Bell is a Bell County. It's the Baptist Association. And then down here you have churches that are, even though it's a non-denominational church, there are benefits being a part of this association. And so I was able to go to this class, and I learned a lot. And it helped me understand why Armstrong did what he did. You look at the past, and you look at the Protestants, and you look at the Catholics, and you look at all of these different religions, and you start to see it's the same pattern everywhere else. It's just looks a little different, but it's the same thing when you break it down. And I was able to understand why Armstrong did what he did and why the church broke up.
So you're saying you can see how it works or something, like Armstrongism, Catholicism.
Yeah, it's like how, when you take the Church of England, and then that's when you start getting into the freedom of religion, into and you see how one person can change, I don't like this, so we're going to make it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. So it kind of made things make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you see this thing at 15, 16 years old, nothing makes sense,
Well, right.
Even as adults. Have you watched our 6-part series, Nanci?
I have watched what I can. I'm sort of on TikTok a little bit too much.
No, you're fine. I just,
I'll watch what I can when I can. Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's fine. That 6-part series, we do break down, kind of like we go as far back as like Church of England. And then from there, we kind of have this timeline to see how it ended up the way it did. And so, yeah, we can kind of relate to that.
Yeah.
Seeing where Armstrong's way of thinking was. I mean, he lived through 2 world wars too.
Yeah.
So of course he's just thinking about war.
I mean, in all honesty, who wouldn't think,
Yeah.
And you see 2 world
Totally.
wars.
Yeah.
I feel like we had a whole generation or more of very, very traumatized men that came back from war and just like puked all their trauma on their family and friends for the rest of their lives when they got
Yep.
back. And we just didn't, we called it shell shocked. We just didn't have the right learning or the right resources to
Right.
like help them. And goodness, of course, it'd be better if we didn't go to war in the first place. Like nothing good is coming out of that. Ugh.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, Armstrong didn't go to war, but right, that doomsday seemingness of like, imagine a world where you'd had the 2 world wars and it ended in a nuclear bomb. Like, we just grew up knowing that existed, so I think we kind of got used to it, but I bet that was
It had to have been scary.
so scary, right? Like, and we humans, we act really poorly when we're scared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Oh. And I mean, I think we have to recognize your parents. They were acting out of their own fear and trauma too.
Yeah.
Same
My
with ours.
my mom was originally Baptist, and then she didn't like the teachings or something. She ended up going to Methodist, and it happened to be the Methodist church is across the street from my grandparents' house, and that's how my parents met. My dad was Methodist; he grew up Methodist. His dad was a Methodist preacher, and that's how my parents met. So when they got married in '65, I believe, they wanted to find something different
Yeah.
and found Worldwide.
They heard
I feel like
Armstrong's
that-
voice on the radio, did they?
Something.
This story is just a story we've heard, though. Like, this is how it happened for so many people in the 60s and 70s. It's like a couple gets married and they have some vague religion in their backgrounds. And they're like, well, we want to do right. It's always born out of this, like, desire to do good and to have things nice for their family,
Yep.
and Armstrong's message was just they're waiting, and he knew how to trigger their fears to like, all right, you want a good life? I guess you got to stay safe. So you better know what I know.
Right.
It's crazy how his messages were received as almost comforting, because when you're looking around at all the devastation in the world and he's referencing the Bible and talking about horrific things happening in the world, he's like, oh, don't worry, God's got this. God's got this. This is all part of his plan. So we're just supposed to let it happen. Don't be afraid, because
Right.
you're the chosen one.
Oof. So Nanci, you shared your coming up in the church and the offshoots, and kind of like how your parents got there too, and how that worked out for them. But I'm kind of curious if you have any memories as a child. Like, what do you remember maybe about like church services or Feast of Tabernacles as a kid? And it can be good memories too.
So my last Feast of Tabernacles that I remember going to, I was 15 years old. I was 15, I think. And my parents at this time both were not in the church. They trusted some young adults. So they were college. One of them actually went to Ambassador College. And they said, yes, they trust them. They will let me. I went with Feast of Tabernacles, and we went down to Corpus Christi, and they had sangria on the beach. And I went down there, and they said, oh, yeah, you can have a little bit to try it. I had my first hangover.
Yay.
Going to church the next morning with a massive headache and a hangover. Oh, my goodness.
Did you
And to
feel
this
like
day,
that was wrong? Oh, sorry, finish.
No, it's like to this day, no, my parents did not know. They never told my parents, but it was like that was like my best rebel memory.
I love it.
But I remember, I had fun when we did the youth camps. I had a lot of good memories from those. But I also remember even though it was the 90s, I remember all the racial undertones because there were not a lot of blacks there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was
You mean like racist behavior or undertones within the
no,
church?
just like just I don't know. There were not a lot of blacks or Hispanics that I can remember. It was mainly just white kids.
Sure. Okay.
There was we had dances. We would meet up with Austin every once in a while, and we would in Fort Worth and do the youth dances. I did volleyball and Worldwide and United. Those are the good memories. But I also remember being probably 6 or 7. I don't remember exactly what message it was, but it was Beats of Trumpets, and it was Armstrong message. And this is the first time I remember him start yelling and pounding the desk and just, being 6 years old, seeing that.
Scared.
That was the first time I remember being scared in that church.
Yeah.
And I hated it. And every time they played them, I just cringed the whole time. And to this day, I have a hard time watching them because I remember how I felt. That was the part of the bad stuff. And then, of course, seeing my dad hurt so bad.
Yeah.
But, I really don't have a whole lot of memories because we really didn't do a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Feast of Tabernacles, we went to either Big Sandy or Corpus Christi. That was it. We were too broke to do the big going out of state because my dad, of course, my mom couldn't work. And my dad, I never knew it, but I know we were broke all the time.
I have heard this, and this is just hits me as so insidious about the church. I've had the realization that it was kind of hierarchical when it came to the feast, because I always remember hearing about Palm Springs and all of the parasailing and just all of the magazine worthy activities that people would do, and then I realized, oh, you're supposed to feel bad if you can't save another 10%.
Right. The Poconos was a big deal down here, going to the Poconos.
Oh, okay.
And I always wanted to go, but we never did.
Mm-hmm.
And see, it's to me, I think Christmas has this attached where kids who don't get presents or don't get as many presents feel like they're the kids that Santa said was naughty. I feel like that was almost that same vibe for WCG kids who didn't get to go stay at a hotel. We have a friend, JJ, who helps with the channel, and they talk about having only been able to go with their travel trailer and all, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. While it was supposed to be that week was you live it up. It's the world tomorrow because you just blow 10% of your year's income on it. And so what are the kids not able to do that supposed to think?
Yeah,
the world tomorrow is not for you,
And we did, we were able to eat out, several times, which was great.
Okay. Yeah.
And one of the cool feasts that we did, because where Corpus Christi is, it's close to Kingsland, Texas, which houses the King Ranch. We actually got to go on a tour there, so that was cool. But I know it was extra money, right. And I'm assuming my dad, they saved for that trip every year. Mm-hmm. That was our vacation.
Yeah,
it was I actually got tired of going, because it was the same thing every year.
Oh. I suppose.
Yeah. Wasn't exactly a new glamorous experience like the church wanted us to pretend it was.
Yeah.
It really was not glamorous at all. I mean, sitting through church for hours every single day. And then, maybe we'd go out to eat and we'd do a few fun things, depending on where you were. I don't know. after we moved out of California, Nancy, we went to Wisconsin Dells for the feast. And so there was plenty of stuff to do there, mini golf and go-karts. But I often wonder about the other locations.
Yeah.
Did they have activities? Because I don't remember many activities outside of what there was to do in town.
I don't remember much about that part. I just remember King Ranch stuck out to me. I'm sure we did other
what
things.
There was to. Oh yeah.
But as far as like big stuff in between the services, I don't think we ever really did much. Maybe shop a little bit and go out to eat, but that was about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So yeah, they were all very different, Pats.
I know. It's so interesting to hear everyone's experience of being at the feast.
Mm-hmm.
What about, do you have any memories from Family Day? Did your feast have a Family Day event?
Not that I can remember.
Okay.
I'm sure we did.
I always wonder about. Okay.
I'm sure we did, but nothing sticks out.
That's fair.
You remember a lot, Pats. Was your situation like mine, Nancy, where I hated everything about it so much that I just kind of blocked it all. And the only time I'm really remembering stuff is by talking about it. Just because I hated it that much. I just wanted to get out of there. I hated church, just sitting there, just bored out of my mind. I hated everything about it. I had no community, no friends in this church. So I did not have good memories.
It's funny, how we were always expected to take notes.
Yeah.
And I would always get out of it by helping the other parents of young children. So I would get out to taking notes.
Here you go.
That's funny. See, it's so funny thinking about the note thing, because I feel like Armstrong had this, he was like a fantasy guy, right? Like, it was like he had this little perfect world in his head, and he kept trying to force people into it, right? Like, he really venerated the idea of men being like office workers and like having that white collar job. Like, even in all of his, anything talking about gender roles or whatever, he doesn't just say the man goes off to work. He says he goes off to the office. And I remember it being a thing that a lot of men in the church would carry a briefcase into church to sit on their lap and take their notes. So it was like Armstrong was trying to create this, look at all these successful businessmen that sit here and make my church look important. What's that?
That's the one thing my dad never had, was a briefcase. My dad was a factory. My dad was a factory worker, and he actually still works to this day.
Okay.
So
you didn't have
he was a factory worker, and so no briefcases. Very, very blue collar.
Okay.
But I do remember seeing all the men at church carrying a briefcases in. I do remember that.
Right?
Our dad too.
I know. Our dad did work as a computer programmer guy there in Silicon Valley, so he was doing the white collar thing. But right, it's what kind of message did that give to all of the people who were working at a factory, working their asses off, providing for their family? How dare we? How dare the church make them feel like they were less than for that? If the church was trying to venerate this image of the briefcase and the office working man, fuck all the way off. We should be honoring the work of all the people. Yeah.
He was not inclusive by any means.
No.
He was
and
going,
then,
wow.
Don't even get started on, us kids in public school.
Yeah.
Oh, please get started on that.
I will never forget that. Because
tell me more.
So the minister of the group I talked about, that the Church of the Central Texas Church of God, I went to school with his kids. So the district was already used to our belief system. So at that part, lunch, cafeteria wasn't such a big deal. But you get into the holiday parties, Christmas, Halloween, Valentine's. 9 times out of 10, it was at the end of the day. So my mom would come to pick me up. Or if she couldn't, I was sitting in the hallway or at the library or, and my first memory of knowing that I was different was in kindergarten. we were coloring, the class was coloring Halloween pages. I got something different. And I didn't understand why.
Yeah.
And I went ahead and colored it, not thinking anything of it. But I remember thinking, it's like, why am I so different? And then when we get back from Feast of Tabernacles, I was ridiculed. It's like, we just started school and you went on vacation. And I was like, well, it technically wasn't vacation. I was in church every day, twice a day.
Right.
But
not my idea of fun. Thank you
not my
very
idea
much.
of fun. But I remember all of that. I was bullied already for my physical issues. So then you add in the difference in religion. It didn't stop until I got into high school.
Oh, Nanci.
Do you feel like it affected your relationships throughout that time?
Oh, yeah. I had very, very few friends in elementary and middle school.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Nanci.
But
same, Nanci, same. I don't remember having any friends growing up.
It's so interesting to hear you talk about that week off being such a big deal. I have heard other people that grew up in the church say the same thing. And I have to think that because of where Nanci and I grew up, nobody gave a shit. Like, we grew up in a very, very diverse area, and there's like lots of Jewish people too, and people of all different cultures, races, etc. And so maybe there was just enough differences going on already that they didn't have to like needle in for a difference like that.
I went to a small school. It was a 2A school.
Okay.
So, and then the biggest religion there is Baptist, where I grew up. And then you have the Methodist. But growing up, I think most of the kids I went to school with were Baptists. So I stuck out like a sore thumb.
Wow. Yeah. Did you feel like there was directly like animosity set up between Baptist kids and Methodist kids and other kids?
Not on that part. I think it was just the fact that, I get to take a week off out of school, and school just started. Oh, there's a random holy day that she's taken off for. Atonement, trumpets, unleavened bread, taking off random days during the week. And then, of course, I come back, and they're like, where were you? And 9 times out of 10, I just lie, because it was like, what's the point? I tell them I was sick.
Oh, okay.
I'm sick. I was sick.
But it was that odd that you would miss a day that they didn't just think nothing of it and think, oh, she was sick?
Yeah. But it was like, I was already sick a lot as a kid, so it made it a little easier.
That's pretty nitpicky, though. Like I have found this in smaller towns. It seems like people are much more able or willing or something to like watch each other and police their behavior and like keep everybody doing what we're supposed to do in our small community in a way that I feel like I didn't see growing up in, big city of San Jose or any of the big cities I've lived in since then. But I did live we lived in Wisconsin in a small town for a little while. So I think we saw just like a little window into that, but it's really hitting home now to hear you tell this story and just that recognition.
There was a lot of animosity at the time, it's towards my parents, but now it's more towards the church of what us kids had to go through. We suffered in school because we were different from everybody else. And then you try to explain to other family members why you can't have like my parents, they explained it, that we don't deserve Christmas, so no Christmas presents. I was lucky to get a birthday meal, but the only birthday presents I ever got were from my grandparents and rarely my parents.
Yep. Well, you got some, huh? Oh,
it was like once in a blue moon. I got something.
Okay.
And then when my son was born, instead of me trying to explain it to my son that Grandma and Papa don't observe Christmas, they did winter break gifts instead of Christmas gifts.
That's good.
And then as he got older, he was able to understand why they don't observe Christmas. And I'm lucky that my son and my dad have a really good relationship still. So
yeah,
that's good. And your son is grown?
Yes, he is 23.
Okay.
oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. This blows my mind because I realized in the Discord somewhere, I was like, you're a grandma.
Yes, I am a grandma. I have a 3-year-old grandson. He just turned 3 December 5th. And then I have a granddaughter due in early April.
Aw, that's so
Cute.
exciting.
Yes.
But I'm 2 years older than you, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
Facebook thing is like being, having your classmates at 40, you've got some who are grandparents and some who are parents of newborns.
Yeah.
And I've got friends who are grandparents, and I've got friends, they're not newborns, but middle school age kids.
Yeah,
And
I have a 7th grader and a 9th grader. So, yeah. That's so funny.
It's crazy. I did not expect to become a grandma at 40, but I am very blessed.
Oh, good.
So.
And you got married rather young and had
yes,
your
I was
son young?
18, 3 weeks after I graduated high school.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay. But your late husband was your high school sweetheart?
Yes and no.
Okay.
We did not go to this. Well, we went to the same school in elementary years. We were at the same, but his bus stop is actually the bus stop before mine. So we went to school together for a while, and then he went off to state placement. That's a whole story in itself. But then when he came back, he aged out of the system, and he had only been home. He had been home for like maybe 4 or 5 months when I met him, and I was 15. And he actually went to a couple of church services with me. And the look on that man's face, he was so shocked and so confused about why and how. And see, at this time, I had already started toying with the idea of leaving. And when he told me what
United at the time, right?
Right.
Okay.
When he told me what he saw, it kind of helped me see even more. So he basically helped me make up my mind to get out of the craziness.
Okay.
So
what was it? You said that all this started to unravel. What started to come together for you? Like things weren't.
I started seeing more and more hypocrisy. It first started with my dad. And then after my mom left, I would get, a few questions on how she was doing and whatever. But it was just, I could just feel the shift in how I was treated with my parents not there. And then also that's when the split happened, I just saw so much hate and hypocrisy in all of that. And I'm just, I went mainly just to appease my parents at that time. And then I remember I had a discussion with my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm not comfortable going there anymore. Would you be mad if I quit going? And she's like, you do what you feel is best. And that's when I made up my mind. I wasn't going back anymore because I just couldn't deal with it.
And to see someone's outside perspective also helped influence you a little bit. Like sometimes we need that, someone from the outside looking in to say, are you actually seeing this?
Yeah.
You've got blinders on at this point.
Yeah, I still had the blinders on. I was starting to take them off. Yeah. But when there were certain things that he said, he's like, why? Like, how do you do this? Yeah. How do you, of course, services were 2 hours long. And he's like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
And I'm used to it. That's how I grew up that way. I'm used to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember that first Saturday, I did not go to church. I felt so odd. what I was supposed to be doing, you know.
Do you feel like God was going to punish you?
Yeah.
That's what we thought.
Oh, yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
How long did like the guilt feelings or or do you still deal with anything?
It took me probably a good couple of years.
Okay.
It wasn't so bad with his support, but I know had I done it alone, it would have been a totally different story.
Yeah. Or you may not have at all.
Yeah.
He helped get you out of there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you probably still notice little traumas here and there, just like Patty and I do. We often say we're good, we're over it, but at the same time, like certain things are still there.
Raised voices, men especially.
Oh, that's
it.
interesting. Okay, so for both of you, then, what happens when you hear a man's raised voice?
Kind of cower down and just
I cower down, shut down.
Yeah, for me, Nancy, it's closing my eyes. I think because I had this weird situation where I was at Ambassador Hall in Pasadena, and the ending prayer lasted for so long, and I had to pee, and I was a little girl. And I think either I asked and got told no, or I didn't ask at all because I didn't think I would be brought to the bathroom. I didn't want to like interrupt this important, ending prayer. And so I ended up peeing in the seat. Or like peeing as soon as I sat down. And so like I have a problem with my eyes closed. I was always told like, shut your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to shut my eyes. I don't like shutting my eyes in a room full of people. I hate it, even to this day. I don't know. I get flashbacks of that.
Mine is mainly, it triggers back to Armstrong when he would be beaten on the desk in those messages.
Yeah, that clearly had an impact on you.
And that, I think, and the pastor that at my church before I moved here, I told him a lot of what happened. And he was very surprised how far I've come in the last few years. And he never really raised his voice. Now he would get loud, but he wouldn't do it in an aggressive style like Armstrong did.
Yeah.
Oh, and I felt like Armstrong wanted us to like feel like bad children.
Right. Yeah.
Scolded.
My dad never raised his voice. Thankfully. No, he did some, but not to that extent. But I do remember, and this kind of goes back to that cower down. I don't remember what I did. I got in a whole heap of trouble. My mom was the punisher. She always spanked me.
Oh.
But my dad, he never did punish me. But I remember there was one time my dad grabbed a belt. I don't remember what I did. But I remember as a little girl, I was laying in my bed, bawling my eyes out after my dad spanked me with the belt. I remember laying on my bed with my hands I was laying on my stomach. My hands were covering my butt because I was so afraid my dad was going to come back in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He only did it once. And I don't even know what I did, but I remember that distinctly.
Yeah.
Proof positive that physical punishment does more harm than good.
Yes. Yeah. We do have an episode on spanking out there if you have not seen it yet, Nancy. Yeah. The harmful aftermath of that is the toughest part is we don't remember what we did. Same, Nancy. Same. I don't remember. I couldn't tell you one fucking thing that I did to deserve a physical punishment. I'm a child. Do I know what's going on? No. Am I trying to make mistakes? No. Yeah.
Yep.
It stopped my progress.
I'm very thankful when I did spank my son when he was little, but I quit because it got to a point where I realized it wasn't doing any good. And it was harming him more.
Yep.
And I quit spanking him at like 2.5, 3 years old. because it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful he doesn't remember any of that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're all only working with the information we have up to that point, you know?
Exactly.
And I think, yeah, and really, like, the information wasn't widespread in our culture, the harm caused by that, until
Not
more
at the
recently.
time.
You know, I think now to like argue and be like, it's my right to hit my kid would be like, there's too much information for you to get away with that now.
Right.
But, you know, it's like back then, I don't know, every parent was doing the best they could, and we never had instruction manuals, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And I think even the what we think is the most egregious mistakes as parents, and we maybe berate ourselves over time, it's like, you know what? That's a thing that we kind of need to give ourselves a little grace on too, and recognize that if we had known a better way, we would have done that.
Because wasn't the thing back then also, I remember seeing it, I just don't remember when it was popular. It was to to beat the fear of God into your child every day.
Yes.
I don't
I think
remember
that was
hearing
pre
that.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember reading that, and I know that did not happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember getting punished when I did something wrong.
Mhm.
But I do know that it did happen with others.
Mhm.
Right.
And I saw a lot of reports of child abuse from that. It was like the reasoning behind them. Like, you know, they could punish their child even though they didn't do anything and get away with it.
Mhm.
And you look at it now and it was abuse because they're hitting them for no reason.
Yeah.
It's so far beyond like reasonable. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like hit them every day,
Mm-hmm.
spank them every day just
And
so
it's
they don't forget.
the same thing of, you know, the blanket training.
Oh,
Please, do
And
you want to talk about
yep.
let's see what else. The denial of doctors.
Mm-hmm.
How many people died needlessly and I mean that's right up there with abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially all the kids
Yeah.
that die from strep throat. You know, a shot of penicillin or whatever, you know, would cure them. And I'm thankful that I was born after that. But I remember I've read a lot of reports about that.
Yeah.
From
But
the
yet,
WCG
if you were, oh yes, go ahead.
I was gonna say the reports you've read, like actually WCG children
There was a
that
Facebook
died.
group I was in for a while of ex members, and I've read a lot. And then there's some on Reddit I've seen.
All right. Which Facebook page are you on? Because I'm on a couple of them.
I'm not on it anymore.
Okay.
I may have to go back and dig for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember seeing them in one group I was in.
Yeah. Well, I remember coming across when I was researching the timeline on Armstrong, you know, some of the evangelists and people who were high up in Armstrong's circle, they got medical care when the other members did not. And that caused a problem, I believe, in the 70s. Something with one, like, I believe it was Rod Meredith who, like, he had a problem with his eye and he needed some sort of surgery. He was able to get it done. Like, he had gotten permission from Garner Ted, and somebody else in the church had the same problem but was denied it. It's something along those lines of the story. Yeah. So, but I'm sure that's one of many stories out there.
Do as I say and not as I do.
Oh, it's kind of that standard move by a bad leader.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, a good leader will look out for their people.
Yeah.
A bad leader will look out for themselves.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Wow.
According to a lot of different sources, Armstrong did not care about his people at all, especially towards the end when he just accumulated this obscene amount of wealth.
Yeah.
And was just enjoying his life and his young wife and anything he wanted, meeting with world leaders. He was loving that
And
lifestyle.
I look at it's like, why did the man need 2 private jets? I mean, I look at that and I'm like, how? Why would you can only fly on 1 jet at a time? So why did he need 2?
Oh, he probably had his
Seriously.
people using it. See, you upgrade to a new private jet, you just can't. You just don't have the heart to get rid of the old one.
Right.
Too many memories in it. You know,
Yeah.
all the memories of him with
his Gulfstream
Call girls.
too. Yes, he loved the pretty ladies too, didn't he?
He did.
All kinds of stories, shady stories about that.
I would, to be able to fly on the wall when he would meet with these world leaders, but these world leaders would have thought about him after they left.
Yes.
Well, exactly. I mean, we heard a story, I don't remember who told us. It was like when he was in Britain trying to meet with, I don't remember if it was Maggie Thatcher or the Queen or whatever time he was doing that. There was like stuff that went out in Britain of people being like, you should not, like, to the Queen or whatever, like, you should not be meeting with this guy. He is a cult leader from the United States. Like, they had no questions in their mind about that. And that surprised me. There was even people in this country that, like, that church was just spoken of as a cult. Even then, which I was surprised. I really thought they kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
As a
until later
regular
that they were
church.
exposed. But
people knew that Armstrong bribed people with Steuben crystal. That was his thing. And he had the Plain Truth magazine. He was at the forefront of radio and publishing, and they wanted to get information out in the world. And so, I'll get on your Plain Truth magazine as long as, you come here to my country and give me that crystal. Give me some exposure too. And he used all this tithe money to donate to, what was it, the Opera House, I believe, in London. It was a charity that I know Prince Charles was very passionate about. And Armstrong made a huge donation using all of our tithe money, of course. And that's why he got an audience with Margaret Thatcher, even just for a few minutes. Now, there are no pictures of him with her, but there is a picture of him walking up to 10 Downing Street in his Rolls Royce. He needed the exposure, and he's seen in another picture shaking the hands of Prince Charles as if they're friends. Like, well, he didn't know who the fuck he was.
Right.
And for a lot of these world leaders, were like, who is this weirdo coming and like preaching to us? Because he was changing his image into this self-proclaimed humanitarian and world peace ambassador.
And then all the leaders that he met with in Africa, it's like all the money that could have spent to help those villages.
He didn't help them at all.
And he did not help one single person.
do you know what he did with the money there at all? I mean, he said he was starting schools, but I imagine it was sort of
that's
in name only.
I remember in all the introductions on videos, money goes here to help them build schools, and I never saw anything come of it though.
No.
I find it so interesting that he went there after the 1975 thing and like the world didn't end.
Right.
Like he had to twist his image really quick instead of just being that doomsday cult guy. I can't believe it worked.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like,
right?
It's just mind-boggling to think about what this man did and how much
he was a failed businessman, but holy shit, he was a good con man.
He was.
I believe he funded archaeological digs like in Israel. I don't know if he actually put up any money for that, but he was involved with them. His money guy, Stanley Rader, which he was seen on a very famous 60 Minutes episode of him, scamming money, which is what they did. He was the guy who had all kinds of businesses under the radar. Quest magazine in New York, I believe, was one of them. I don't really know the story behind that one, but yeah, he got creative. And then people admitted, well, they don't like Stanley Rader publicly. And so he kind of went to the back burner, but he was still there. He was still cooking his books.
I did not know that.
It's strange because we found out about Stanley Rader almost right away, starting to do the Armstrong research. And I was like, I never once heard that name growing up.
No.
I mean, Stanley Rader was shoved so far under the rug because he was such a liability for the church by that point and their like image in the world, I think, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yeah.
The name sounds familiar,
Really? Okay.
but I never really paid attention to it either. I may have to do some digging.
Yeah, watch our 6-part series when you have a chance. There was another guy like from the Philippines. I don't know if I mentioned this guy in our series, but he was also like somehow involved at Ambassador College, not accredited, not experienced in any way. Armstrong said he was like his driver, his official driver or assistant or something. There was a lot of shadiness around this man too, but he was only there for maybe a couple years and then he disappeared. Yeah. But people were looking into Armstrong's trips and wondering, how did you spend hundreds of dollars here, thousands of dollars here, and where did all this money go?
Yeah.
Since you were in the UCG for a while before you got out, but really we think UCG was like a snapshot of what the church looked like when Armstrong died, you know, like they just tried to hold to that. Do you have any like things throughout any of it, I guess, but especially UCG that happened that you feel like you can point to for like how you're still unpacking it now, or it had some kind of direct impact to your post Armstrong life?
I think it just made me look at the world different, you know, to question everything.
Oh,
you know,
tell me more
not
about that.
You know, not everything, but to question, you know, when something sounds a little bit too good to be true, kind of deals.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, you know, since I've been out for 20 some odd years, I think all the healing has been, as much healing as can be done has been done.
Good.
Okay, that's good.
Good. Well, it can be a lifelong process, and we're here with you, Nanci.
But it did, but you know, it did make me realize, you know, how I wanted to raise my son, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, that's what I noticed. You broke a cycle.
I did. I broke a cycle.
Cycle breakers.
Yay!
Yay!
You know, I do remember my first Christmas. I was 16. It was my first Christmas. It was my first Christmas with my late husband as well. We were still dating.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad, bless his heart, he knew that I never had Christmas. So he put up a stocking for me. And they made sure to include me in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember feeling, this is what life is supposed to be like.
Yeah.
You know,
people caring about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My father-in-law was an amazing man anyways. But the way he had brought me into his family, you know, so.
That's what she needed. Yeah.
Yeah. And it made me, you know, when we had our son, I just remember wanting to make everything right for him. I wanted him to have the memories.
Yes.
Because I never had the memories. So I wanted to make sure he had memories, regardless if it was Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter or, you know, whatever. I always tried, especially his younger years, I always tried to do something for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you still close with your in-laws today?
Both my in-laws are passed.
Okay.
My father-in-law passed away in 2005, and we were close. I actually took care of him until he died. Mm-hmm. And then my mother-in-law passed away in 2019. They were not married. They got divorced when Scott was 3, but I was close to both of them.
Okay.
His mom pretty much adopted me before I even met her. The first time I got to meet her in person was the day before we got married.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she lived in New Mexico at the time.
Okay. Well, that would make sense. Yeah, she's not close by. Okay.
And then she moved to Austin after she and her husband divorced, which was my husband's late stepdad. I did not like the man. I tolerated him, but I did not like him.
Okay.
And then he passed away 2020, I believe.
Okay.
He passed away recently. I don't remember exactly when.
Sure.
Okay.
But I was like, good riddance. Because I did not like the man at all.
I think that's okay to have that feeling about some
It's
people.
perfectly fine. No
But
shame.
my mother-in-law and father-in-law were amazing people.
Aw.
So
Good.
I'm glad you got to have that experience
Yeah.
and get to experience Christmas or
Yeah.
several Christmases with
his
them.
mom, our first Christmas together, his mom sent me a Christmas gift to make sure I was included. And I remember I opened it up in the living room at my parents' house. And it felt really odd.
Yeah.
It
But
does feel weird. I think I have trouble accepting gifts today too. It just, I don't know how to react. Like, thank you. Like, really? You doing this for me?
I know, right?
like my birthday, I never had the birthday parties. We went out to eat, my mom and dad would take me out to eat for my birthday. Rarely had a birthday present. And even with my son, my husband and I, we never really got gifts for each other because we wanted to make sure it was all about him.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy I'm with now got me a Christmas present, and I'm like, really? Like, we've only been together since September.
Yeah.
And it really took me back, and I was, and it's a fuzzy, like, he took note that I love blankets, and I wanted a robe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those pullover hoodie blankets that's just, it feels like a giant warm. But it's like, I like accepting presents is still, I don't know, it weirds me out too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would rather, don't get me wrong, I love presents, but I'd rather go out and do something,
That's fair. That can
That's
be a
true.
present.
Yeah, pay for experiences instead of
Yeah.
like tangible items. Yeah.
Well, there's something about that, right? It's like, the things I still don't really like about Christmas is like if it feels like an obligation. Like, okay, you
Right.
have to go buy presents. And then it's like, well, what if I don't know what they want? Or they're people that have everything. Like,
Right.
why? Like, why am I doing this? But
Right.
I
Or you
do
feel
love
broke,
the
can't
idea
afford
of
it, or
being,
yeah.
well, yeah, but I do love the idea of there being opportunity to say, this is a person I really care about, and I want to make them feel special, and I want to give them something. But I find for me, Armstrong's voice is in my head of the get mentality, and
Mm-hmm.
and I've had to like undo a lot of that by reminding myself that if someone is giving a gift, someone is getting. And that's both happen simultaneously. There's
Right.
not just a get or a give mentality. And so it was like this false dichotomy that he was setting up to mess us up around that,
Mm-hmm.
to not give each other things so that we could give it all to him, So yeah, that's a big deal to be able to give gifts really honestly and with love, and maybe even bigger, to be able to receive them without feeling guilt.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
I get my daughter-in-law and son something every year for Christmas. And, of course, my grandbabies he gets spoiled. But it's nice to be able to not have to explain that,
Yes.
Yeah.
because I already had to explain it once to my son why his grandparents didn't observe Christmas.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And now I don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm. So then
So-
how are you seeing your son enact the holidays for his family?
I think he tries to carry, well, I'll say he pretty much just follows his wife's lead.
Oh.
So, because she's the brains in it all. She's the one that says, "Hey, I want to have," she wants this, and that. He just goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
Is that
but
cool though? She have a pretty good plan.
oh yeah, Yeah, she does really well.
Nice.
They do a lot of stuff with him, with the grandbaby. For them to do what they do with Gunner, my grandson, they do a lot and they make it magical. And I just kind of take it all in to kind of recapture, live through him vicariously
Yeah.
for Christmas. So
I mean, isn't Christmas about the kids?
it is. It is.
At least like our trappings around it, right? Like it's about making magic for the kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, so Christmas Eve, my son and daughter-in-law were here for Christmas. For Christmas Eve. And my guy ended up buying a Santa costume. And so he went out to go change and came back in as Santa. And it was just so sweet. It was like,
Aww.
this is what it's supposed to be like. I have a picture of my grandson showing Santa his new trip that I got. I'll post it in the Discord. But it is so cute and it's like, this is what it's supposed to be like, and this is what I missed out on as a kid. So
yeah,
it was
so
sweet.
You feel like, does that feel like salve on the wounds a little bit still, kind of healing it up?
Yeah. I think that part will never go away, of wanting to say, hey, this is my Christmas memory, and not having anything. I think that's the only thing that really gets to me still. It's not having the childhood memories of all the holidays.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, when people remember their family memories, those are the big spots.
So my 2 weeks of Christmas vacation was sitting at home and twiddling my thumbs.
Didn't you just love getting back to school and all the kids talking about
all
the things they got?
That was the worst. I actually dreaded it because all my friends are like, hey, look what I got. And that's cool.
We just spoke to someone else who said that she had to pretend. She made something up. She's like, "Oh, I got this for Christmas." She didn't want people to think badly of her parents.
Yeah.
So she thought it was just easier to lie, but then she felt guilty for lying because you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
Either.
Fortunately, my friends knew that I didn't keep the holidays. And they didn't question it. They were just good, really good. They were really good friends. The few that I had.
Good.
But I do remember, all the other kids saying, "Hey, look what I got,"
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah, for sure.
That's something I really haven't thought about in a while either.
Sorry, dredge it
That's
up.
okay.
Well, this is why, talking on a podcast definitely helps. Finding those trigger points.
Yeah. And it's like I've tried to explain to Ryan, because I had found he had this correspondence course thing that I was like, why does this name sound familiar? And I looked it up. And it was, forget the name of it, but it was who leads the Living Church of God.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a while to explain to him why I had a hard time with it. It's like, I said, it's up to you what you do with this information. I'm not going to judge you either way. But once I told him and got him to understand that it is a branch off of the cult that I grew up in, he's like, okay, I'm not worried about it anymore. So he's doing it out of respect for me to not. So when it comes in, it gets tossed.
Yeah.
So
you're saying your current guy, you're seeing?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, he had found it and he didn't realize,
Just out of the blue,
when I looked
just randomly, he had an offshoot thing?
Like JW's pamphlet.
This was something I have seen it on Facebook a couple of times as an ad, but I was looking at it before I even realized where this was from. I started looking at it. I'm like, man, this really has doomsday stuff written all over it. This stuff seems so familiar.
Trigger.
Ah! I'm like, I look at who it was from. Like, why does that name sound familiar? And I looked it up. I saw Living Church of God. So I looked that up. Oh, now I know why it's all making sense now. But it's amazing how the like offshoot of the offshoot of offshoot still has the same exact.
Right?
I often wondered
I don't even know what to do with that. It's so
Yeah.
icky. Like, why are these weird, like, debunkable, nasty, fear-mongering ideas so pervasive that people aren't just like, they just, like, keep pushing it forward. It must be so useful for controlling people.
They
all
work
I can
on the
think.
vulnerable, Pats. They work on the vulnerable.
It hurts so much.
I know.
But once he understood, and I explained to him the cult aspect of Worldwide and the hold that it had and the abuse that happened, he understood why I had a hard time with it. So
Can be more relatable now.
yeah.
I mean, maybe you saved him from getting involved in that.
So
breaking more cycles there, Nanci.
Yeah, let's see. It really threw me off guard because the church that we go to, it's a non-denominational church, and they preach totally different. It was very similar to the church I went to before I moved here. Mm-hmm. So to see that, it really threw me for a loop. It's like, why is this here? Because, and then I started, I'm not opposed to buying, devotionals or whatever. I'm not opposed to that. But when I started seeing this and reading, and it just started triggering all of these memories of the doomsday stuff, it was like, yeah, this needs to not happen,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not go there.
I still can't believe how prominent all these offshoots of WCG are.
It's the magazine. I posted it on the Discord, but it's called the Tomorrow's Truth.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a whole bunch of them. It's like they just recycled the same words in like a different order, or they used a synonym. Like the thesaurus is strong with the offshoots. Let me tell you.
Yeah. It is like I told him that, I had explained to him that not all Church of Gods are that offshoot either. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah.
I feel like this is why it's been so hard to nail down the worldwide stuff as a category. Oh, because it just, go ahead.
I thinking about this, talking about offshoots. In Big Sandy, this was a random drive-by. I found the Grace Communion Church in Big Sandy that once was Worldwide. They rebranded it to get away from the cult stigma. And the whole thing with that Worldwide congregations weren't supposed to have their own building. And when I saw the Grace Communion International Church, I knew exactly what it was. Mm-hmm. And I made Scott back up. I was like, I need to take a picture of this.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing, because for the church to say they're not supposed to have their own buildings, they had a mighty nice building.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess doing better,
they threw out, if they threw out Saturday and Unitarianism when they switched it over, then who knows? I'm sure they weren't holding to the building thing.
Grace Communion is the same beliefs, but they switched the name for rebranding to get away from the cult stigma.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
And I discovered, I think someone is trying to restart the Worldwide Church of God.
Oh, Lord.
I know. Okay. So there's one of the websites. There's a few websites online where, the true believers of Armstrong have cataloged and saved like every bit of literature and booklet and every freaking thing that they can And one of them, I think it was the HWA library one of the main ones.
Yeah.
I went to it now, and like it redirects to a worldwidechurchofgod.org or com or something like that. And it looks to me like they're literally trying to, like, they have recreated and like done the whatever registration of a church again under that name.
Right?
Like,
Oh my.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So I don't know what that means in terms of.
That's quite scary to think about.
Isn't it? Right? Like somebody gonna get really active and pushing all that literature out again? Like, ugh.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
And now there's social media. I have always been thankful that Armstrong never could get his hands on social media.
Kidding.
It didn't. Right?
Yeah. He did pretty.
Could you only
as well as he
imagine?
could for the time.
I know. The gross things. I mean, he would have been, you know, the QAnoner of the day back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've all really been through something with this Worldwide Church of God business, haven't we?
Yeah. It's just amazing to see, like, so far being in the Discord, how we all have different stories. You know, we have the same beginnings per se,
Yeah. Different.
but how each of us have had a different path.
Yeah.
And they're so widely varied from everybody else. Like, I know with me, I'm probably one of the few that actually went back to church. And then you have others, you know, who, and it's like I was telling my guy last night, I said, you got some that have, as I told him about this interview, and I was like, you got some that are agnostic, you got some that are atheists, you got some who are like me and who have found their faith.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting to see how we've all changed.
Yeah. How we've all reacted to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know. I find that really interesting. I was speaking with David. He was the very first WCG person we interviewed, and he's interested in doing a whole episode on kind of that idea of why is it that some people end up as atheists, some people are still going to grace communion, some people are doing like the serious Armstrongist stuff in house churches. You know, it's like, and David talked about it because his siblings, like within his sibling group, all of those things are represented. And he's like, how did this happen? You know, what led each person to those different directions? I mean, and I sat in a evangelical situation for 10 years too before deciding it wasn't for me. So like, yeah, it is really interesting of what led us all to our paths. But I guess for me, it feels really important that no matter where our paths have taken us, that we're able to come together here and like have that solidarity with each other for how our upbringing like influenced us, you know?
Right. I think a lot of it also has to do with like where we live, because where I lived was a very small town.
I agree with you.
And I got married young, and so I was just kind of following my own path.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think about church because when I got married, I'd only been out for 2 years. So I wasn't really looking for anything either. I was just like, free. I'm free to do what I want to do, you know, and I needed that. It brought my husband and I back closer.
Oh,
and then
that's nice.
His whole deal with his mental health and his physical health started not long after that.
Oh gosh.
Okay. And he passed summer.
He passed in June 17th.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's recent.
Yeah.
How's your grieving process been since he passed?
Actually, I'm doing really well. After I realized about all the gaslighting and narcissistic behavior he had, there was a lot of mental abuse that was from his frustration of his physical health. It really took a toll on me. It was like the last few years of his life. So the guy I'm with now, Ryan, he's been amazing. He understands I want to have my days. He understands that my history, all my my history is with Scott. I have no history by myself.
Yeah.
And he's just been amazing. He has helped heal the broken pieces that he didn't break. And that's really helped me. He's loved me in a way that I needed from my own husband, and I never had it. I didn't have it for a while.
Nancy, I didn't realize the dynamics of that relationship. Okay.
Scott and I were together 27 years. And he died 10 days before our 25th anniversary.
Wow.
The day I had his funeral was the day after our anniversary. So, and it wasn't until, and then we went down to go spread his ashes in mid-July, where he wanted them spread. And it was, in between that time, I started realizing the stuff that was going on, that had happened.
You mean, like, how his behaviors toward you had changed and were actually harming you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, so you were just kind of living in that shit for years.
Last Christmas Eve, that he was alive, was the day that I checked out fully out of our marriage.
Was your, sorry if I kind of asked this earlier, but was your marriage and your time good?
Yes.
Like,
the majority was
categorize
good.
It.
Majority was good.
Until
the majority
his
was
health
good.
Shifted his behavior towards you in that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, most of our life, it was great. It was, we did a lot of things. We had a hot shot business. We traveled a lot.
A what business?
A hot shot. We delivered trailers and boats and RVs and stuff like that.
Oh, that's fun. So
we got to see a lot of stuff.
So you were on the road a lot, traveling
we did that for 5 years.
Rigs. Okay.
Yeah, not a big rig. We did it with our own truck.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
We had a diesel. And we did that for 5 years. And then
excuse me.
When he quit driving is when things started changing. We had done food business, like food trucks and stuff. Again, his health wouldn't let him keep up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he got to the point where he just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And he basically would blame me for his weight gains. I'm like, I'm not the one putting the food in your mouth. I tell him no, and it's like, I don't want to go get this. I don't want to do that. And yet he would just berate me until I broke to go get whatever.
Oh, you really took a lot.
Yeah.
In that time. I'm feeling.
And I know it wasn't him, but yeah, at the same time, it takes a toll on you when you realize
absolutely
you're not grieving your spouse the way society says you're supposed to grieve your spouse.
Right.
Because of how the treatment changed.
Yeah.
It's okay. Well, Nanci, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Of course.
Thank you for being vulnerable enough.
I kind of want to get us all a little pumped up again about the cycle breaking stuff, though, because I feel like that's huge. I mean, you broke a cycle for yourself, even too, of not accepting mistreatment.
Yeah.
You know? Like, yeah.
And you know what's so bad?
I knew you were going to do this. Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for being here as we got to introduce you to our friend Nanci. And if you are former WCG or from the offshoots, get in touch with Nanci and I, and we can connect you with our Discord where you can talk to other cult survivors. And if you like seeing interviews like this and you'd like to see more from the Apostate Sisters, check out Patreon. We have a Sinful Siblings tier that you can join to support the show. Thanks very much. Like and subscribe, everybody.
Like and subscribe. Bye.